Hey everybody, it's Jason Blahal here, and today I and Bagpuss are going to bring a video to you that I promised back when I had about 18,000 subscribers, and I never got around to doing it. I'm about to hit 30,000, so I really need to get this done for you guys. And that is an objective video on marijuana use and training. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. And Bagpuss will give you guys a bicep shot too, because he's in this one. Give you a Z's pose again. Alright, I want this to be an objective video, kind of like I did with the alcohol, even though I am very anti-alcohol abuse, because that's what I like to do. I want to keep my personal opinions out of this, and let's just discuss the data, the pros, the cons, and the viewpoints. Now, my personal view is that I don't really care for weed. I don't like it. I've certainly smoked it a few times in my life, but it's just not my thing. And even if it was legal here, I really couldn't see myself smoking it or using it. And Bagpuss, on the other hand, let's find out what he has to say on it. Bagpuss says that he be getting higher than a motherfucker every day, and that every day is 420 for him. So we have some conflicting viewpoints there, but let's see if we can find the middle ground. Now, a lot of people do consider marijuana to be a drug, but I have done the research, and it appears that it is actually just a plant found in nature, and it's just found that way naturally. And if you happen to set it on fire, there are some effects. So let's discuss the pros and cons of those effects in regard to your training and your sports performance and physique, or whatever else you're working towards with your training. Now, the negatives that we need to look at, and I'm only talking about training negatives. We don't care about the legal or the social or whatever other positives or negatives exist, because that's not within the scope of this video or the context in which I cover things. So the potential negatives to your training is that for a very, very small number of people, it does cause some psychosis and other problems, but this is rare. And I've had people who are police officers point out the statistics to me, but it causes a lower rate of violence than alcohol does. So let's be realistic. This is, for the majority of people, not really a concern that it's going to make them aggressive. It makes far more people calm than it does aggressive, statistically by a large margin. So that's not really a concern. Now, the biggest concern psychologically is going to be the motivational issues. People who sit around getting high all the time oftentimes struggle to be motivated to do anything. They lose their inhibitions, they lose their motivation. So if you're one of those people and you're smoking a lot of weed, you may need to scale back your weed use if it's making you miss workouts, it's messing with your training, it's messing with your ability to do what you need to get done. But that's going to be a very personal thing. It's not going to be a set thing. Some people, it actually seems to motivate and create more focus, while others completely lose their motivations, but it does seem to be dose dependent. So if it's causing you those problems, you should probably scale back the amount that you're smoking it until you get to a point where you are motivated and you're not losing motivation. The other thing, and this can be a positive and a negative, and we'll get to that later, is going to be the appetite stimulation. For a large number of marijuana users, you're going to see an increased appetite. If you are trying to cut, this could very much be a problem for you, because if you're getting the munchies at night, you're smoking weed, you're getting hungry, and you've hit all your calories and food for the day on a cut, that's going to mess with your willpower. That's not a good situation to be in. Another negative that has been raised is the possible loss of testosterone. But I think this has been overhyped a bit. When I look at the data on it and what I've seen, it's not conclusive that it drops testosterone, and certainly not conclusive that it lowers it in everyone. And what people realize is that it's only minor fluctuations inside the normal range. And what people don't realize is that fluctuations of testosterone inside the normal range very rarely, if ever, make changes in muscle protein synthesis. So if you're only seeing a 10 or 20% loss in your natural production and you're still in the healthy range, that's not going to affect your gains any measurable amount, even remotely. And usually it's not even a flat increase. So a 10 or 20% increase up or down isn't going to be noticeable at all in regards to your results. And what people don't realize is that all the research shows that if you're, say, at 400 nanograms per deciliter, which is inside the normal range, and you triple that by injecting testosterone into your body and you go to 1200 nanograms per deciliter, that's a 200% increase, but it's not going to triple your gains. You're going to see maybe a 50% faster gain in muscle mass from tripling your levels. You're not even going to double. And it's the same if you go sixfold. If you were to push it up 6 times your normal range, you're still only going to see about a 75 to 100% increase in your muscle gains as far as the research that we can see. So these little minor 10 and 20% fluctuations really and truly don't mean anything. And particularly when you stay inside the normal range, you've got to go under it or above it to usually see any sort of significant measurable changes. So I would kind of write that one off as a negative. Now the last negative is going to be, just like with smoking, the fact that you're inhaling smoke and ash and tar and other things. But that again comes down to an issue of how much are you taking in, because a chain smoker, someone who smokes a lot, this is very measurable, but they're usually smoking a pack or more a day. Most people, and there are exceptions mind you, but we're getting into a debate of moderate use of something versus just flat abuse. If you're smoking 20 joints or bowls a day, which is going to be the equivalent of what a smoker is smoking with cigarettes, and yeah, you should absolutely expect a change in blood pressure, cardiovascular fitness, oxygen uptake, stamina. You're going to see problems from that. But a guy who is smoking once a day, a moderate amount, it's pretty unlikely you're going to see a significant change there. So again, we're talking about moderate use of something versus abuse in regards to that a negative effect, and there's going to be a vast difference between the two. So let's step back and let's look at the pros. Well, number one on that list, one possible benefit, goes back to that issue with the appetite. And a lot of bodybuilders and football players and other people use it for this purpose, for the appetite stimulation. When they're deep in training, or if a bodybuilder's bulking and they struggle to get in enough calories, that extra appetite stimulation could be a benefit. And it's the same with in-season athletes who are burning through so many calories during practice, and they need to maintain a fair amount of body mass and body weight for what they do, such as a football lineman or a big rugby player or someone like that. They're going to need sometimes things to help stimulate their appetite. In fact, that's one of the reasons they use anabolic steroids also, is for appetite stimulation. And it can be the same with smoking weed. It's going to be the same sort of thing. That appetite can help them get the calories that they need to achieve their goal. Another factor to consider is the fact that it can mellow people out. A majority of users mellow out versus becoming angry or aggressive. And for someone who is training hard, that ability to unwind and mellow out may speed up recovery for some people. And particularly if they're training really hard, struggling to sleep at night. I've known athletes and football players and bodybuilders who use it as a sleep and a relaxation aid in the evening to help them unwind, mellow out, and get some sleep and rest to improve recovery, to improve progress and muscle gains, performance, whatever they're doing. So it looks like what we have is a balance between potential negatives, potential positives, and for me to try to say what's right for a given person in that situation, I really can't. I would say if you are a weed smoker and you are taking your training very, very seriously, you need to weigh those things out yourself. Look at those different factors and decide, do the pros outweigh the cons, or do the cons outweigh the pros for you personally? And do you need to either quit smoking, continue smoking, or moderate your use to find the fine balance there as far as your goals and your training results? And I've certainly seen individuals who have struck that balance. I've known very serious competitive athletes who do smoke it in moderation, and it didn't prevent them from going pro in their sport or achieving peak performance, and then they felt it in some way that helped benefit them. So it does appear that there is that that balance there for the individual, and it certainly didn't seem to hinder them from being able to compete at an elite level in their sport. Whereas, and I've known others who feel that the mental effects and other things are just too much and that they were unable to use it at all, even in moderation, and still achieve their goals. So again, this seems to be a very, very individual thing, and each person has to find what's right for them. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.